Photoshop Project 8. We are on page 453, Generate Image Assets from Layers. What we have done as far as creating these images, resizing them, doing the warping on this image, plus there's some text that is stylized. This stuff, we can't just take and plug this into a web page. We can't use Photoshop files on a web page. We need to take sections and export these out as file formats that can be used in HTML. We have JPEGs, GIF or GIF, and PNGs. JPEGs don't support transparencies. The other two do. But whether you need an 8-bit color or a 24-bit color, that's going to be determined by what the image is. We're going to be able to generate those assets using a plugin, and to be able to do that, you'll need to go into your preferences and go to plugins and enable the generator and say OK, and then go into File, Generate, and click to activate image assets. You're needing to select both the costume design, hold down your Shift key, and select the Silk Road text layers. You're going to create a new group from those layers and name the group logotype.png. No caps. Make sure you do put the .png because we need the file extension on there. So we're going to be generating this as a PNG file, and then enter to accept it. Take a look now at your WIP folder. In the Silk folder, you'll see that there is now a new folder generated that is called Silk Road Assets. The logo type file, which was defined as soon as we generated it, is now inside that folder. Back in Photoshop, double click on the Silk layer and rename it as Silk -algae for large .png and press enter to confirm that. We are using the -algae on there because we need to show that this is a large size, because we're going to make a smaller one for a smaller display later on in the chapter. And again, if you look in your assets panel, we have the Silk layer generated as another PNG. We're going to do the same type of thing for these other layers. Our menu icon, text, and background images we're going to rename as shown in the book. So our menu icon, we're going to rename that menu, and you have to use hyphens. You cannot have spaces because HTML does not work with spaces in names. And we need to rename text background as text -bkg.jpg, enter, and background image is body -bkg, and that is also a JPEG. Take a look again at your folder, and you'll have body, logo type, menu, dash icon as a GIF, the PNG, and your JPEG text background. At this point, you should save your file so you don't lose anything. Make sure that you read the section on the bottom of 455, more about Adobe Generator. There are lovely things in there that you should know if you're going to use this to create web pages. We are going to proceed by picking up and copying the cascading style sheet information for the text and the shape layers. We talked a little bit about cascading style sheets when we were working in Illustrator, and this is going to be more in that line. Read the section at the top of page 456 covering the different types of selectors. We're going to be using Photoshop to actually create this cascading style sheet classes. We're going to make another change to a layer. We're going to go down to the heading type layer and change the name on that to H1-LG, and then right click on the layer and choose Copy CSS from the contextual menu. If you go into your Silk, you will now see that you have a cascading style sheet for type styles. You can open that just in Notepad and you'll see there's character set and it's the start of the CSS document. Put an insertion point on the first empty line and Control V to paste the information that we copied out of the Photoshop file. You're going to do the same thing. You can just collapse that. Don't close it because you're going to be adding more information to it. We want the lorem ipsum text to be renamed body hyphen copy hyphen LG. Right click on it again. Copy the cascading style sheet information, open up your Notepad, and Control V to paste that information in. Save your style sheet, and then you can close it. At some point I missed renaming the Artboard 1 layer that we are working on in the Layers panel. I should have renamed that as Web Large. And then we can collapse that layer and save your file. Make sure that you read the section on the top of page 458 about creating image slices. And next we're going to copy our artboard. We have done that with Illustrator. Photoshop didn't used to have multiple artboards. This is something relatively new. We want to make sure that the Web Large artboard is active, and we need to have that selected in the Layers panel. And then we're going to activate the Artboard tool in the Tools panel. The Artboard tool is located beneath the Move tool. Alt-click the Add New Artboard icon to the right of the existing artboard. So we're going to need to zoom out a little bit, and then you can alt-click on the little icon to duplicate the artboard. Now you have Web Large Copy and Web Large. In Web Large Copy, change the name of the artboard to iPhone 5. With the iPhone V artboard, the active layer, choose iPhone 876 in the Options bar Size menu. Click Make Portrait to change the orientation. Then save your file. Now the different sizes and the different orientations mean that we're going to have to redefine the content, the positions, the sizes, the settings. You're going to shift click to select the Feature 2 frame and the Feature 3 frame in the layer panel. Now with both of those selected, we're going to delete those because they're not going to fit. In the Layers panel, rename the Silk large PNG file as Silk iPhone. Silk-iPhone, all lowercase, .png. When you use Generator to export image assets, only the visible portion of that layer is going to be included in the exported image. So in this case, the right half of that puppet warped image that we did is not going to be part of the exported file. So if you transfer the layer to fit entirely in horizontal space, it would be a lot smaller and it's going to lose some of its effect. The left half of the layer is currently visible and it still creates the desired flowing silk appearance, and so that's going to meet the needs for this project. Using the Type tool, we're going to put an insertion point in the body copy large layer. So pick up your Type tool and in body copy and adjust the bottom right type handle until the cursor feedback gives you a width of 570 and a height of 280 pixels. I can't get mine right to 250, so I'm going to just go with the next closest, which I could get was 251. 249, close enough. Now activate the Move tool and turn off Auto Select. In the Layers panel, click to select the Feature 1 frame layer. Make sure you click the name to select the entire layer. And then with your Move tool, you're going to move the image down below the text and line it up. Control T to go into the free transform mode, and then grab that bottom left handle and enlarge it. I know the book says to hold down the Shift key, but that will give you the wrong setting unless I've got something set different. We want to keep and hold the proportions, so make sure your proportions are correct. And then in your Layers panel, click to select the frame only and resize the frame so that we're cropping the image, and then enter to accept that change. Then click the body copy large layer to select it, and using your character or properties panel, you should be able to get into it in your properties panel. Change the font size. Let's see, we're going to have to scroll down in here. Change the font size to 32 point with a leading of 44 points. And in the Layers panel, change the name to body-copy-iPhone. Then you're going to right-click the body copy layer, copy the CSS, go back into your WIP folder, reopen the style sheet, and at the bottom, paste the body copy iPhone information in. Control V. Go into the H1 layer, change the type on that layer to 48 points with a 48 point leading, and change the layer name to H1 for heading 1 hyphen iPhone. Right click, copy CSS, go back into your CSS style sheet and paste that information in. Save that and close it, and then you can save and close the Silk Road Photoshop file.